What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from different comic book companies. Today, we are going to jump back over to DC Comics, and we're going to go back to the New 52, and I'm going to talk about the worst Superman we ever got, which was the New 52 Superman. Now, this is my opinion, and yours could be different, but to me, this was the worst one. And this is volume 1 of Superman in the New 52. So, if you do like today's comic book video, please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. But I do hope you enjoy today's video. So with the opening of this used to be a new universe, but with Superman being the star of the book, we see that George Perez in the opening pages is getting rid of the old look of the Daily Planet. That they are getting a brand new building to replace the old one tells us right off the bat that the company has been bought out by a man named Morgan Edge, someone who owns a lot of different companies in Metropolis, but the biggest one he owns was the rival of the Daily Planet, the Globe. Now that name is going to pop up a couple more times, but will quickly fall to the sideline for this story. Now, Lois Lane was able to get a promotion thanks to this, and she will be the producer of the news channel, but also Perry White will still be in charge of the paper. There is one person who is not excited about the fact that the old Daily Planet is gone, and that is Clark Kent, but also we can see early on that he hates the idea that they were bought out by Morgan Edge even more, as we see him floating over the pile of debris of the old building. But you have Jimmy Olsen tell us that Superman was gone for a long time, except now he is back in the city, which leads to everyone getting the word out that he is back in town. The next couple pages focus on a lot of different things. We see Superman flying away from the old Daily Planet and fly by the new Astrodome that is being built. Well, we see that there are some security guards watching the building at night. One of the cameras show a small fire happening in the building, so one guard goes to check it out. The next page shows us why Clark Kent, aka Superman, doesn't like Morgan Edge, which is all because of the company Morgan Edge owns, the Globe, which they are known for a lot of shady things. Plus, the person who previously owned the company was shady, and Clark Kent doesn't believe Morgan Edge is a good guy. Also, the Globe doesn't print true, meaningful stories. Also upset that Lois Lane decided to work for this man as well. We then see some kind of alien in the Himalayas going to the highest point of the mountains to basically blow a horn. What will the horn do? Well, that question will be answered very soon here. The third page shows us that Superman is still flying around Metropolis to make sure everything is okay. We get more flashbacks about the arguments between Lois Lane and Clark Kent about the purchase of the Daily Planet. But getting back to the security guards at the Astrodome who saw a fire on the cameras, we see one get close to the fire, then something big happens. Focusing on Superman, we see him see that there is a police chase going on, and the thugs who are being chased, well, they had stolen a truck that was holding a bunch of poison inside of it. So you have Superman go to stop them. But then the reports get back to Lois Lane and Perry White. So Lois Lane has to get a bunch of people down there so they can get it on the news. Perry White has to get the stories ready for tomorrow's paper. Getting back to those security guards who found the fire in the Astrodome, the first guard disappeared. So the second one goes to check on his partner, only to be surprised by something. At the same time, that is when the truck the thugs had stolen and were being chased by Superman, and the police just explode. Superman was holding onto the truck in the air. So right now it seems that Superman was the one who made the truck explode in the middle of the city. We are still in the first chapter, by the way, but we come to find out what blew the truck in the air. It is some kind of fire monster that appeared out of nowhere, but we know that he came from the Astro Dome. It has to be, but this begins a battle across the city between the two of them. It is not like Superman has the edge against this fire monster because it is absorbing things to make itself a bigger firestorm in the middle of the city. Superman is going to struggle throughout this whole battle, but then in the middle of the fight, we see one of the police choppers is shot out of the sky thanks to this monster. With that chopper being shot outside, you have Lieutenant Casey tell his policemen and women that they need to be doing crowd control, that basically there is nothing they can do with this fire monster. This is a Superman problem for him to handle. At the same time, we see a phone conversation between Morgan Edge and Lois Lane going on, where Morgan Edge is upset that Lois Lane called the news chopper back for their safety. He wants her to keep the choppers close to the fight no matter what. She hangs up on him and tells Jimmy Olsen to hack a nearby security camera to get footage of the fight. We get to the point where the fight does wrap up, and this is only the first one of many to come in this story, except you have Superman use the old Daily Planet statue as a way to get close to the monster, where he is able to beat down on the monster, but before the monster is beaten, the monster says something in Kryptonian. But in the New 52, at this point, Superman doesn't know Kryptonian that well, meaning that he barely picked up on it when the monster said it. You have the monster get defeated with Superman taking it into space. Later that night, we see two things happen. The first is that Perry White is happy because Clark Kent was able to get him a story of the recent Superman battle that quick, except mentions that Clark Kent has been distant lately. At the same time, we see Clark Kent go to the apartment of Lois Lane, hoping to apologize and everything is going to be okay now. She accepts his apology, but that is when Clark Kent finds out that she has a man over, and means that she is having some fun time with this guy. So Clark Kent leaves sad, but can tell that he has feelings for her. The opening of the second chapter opens up with Superman looking at the star map that is at the military base, where he is wondering if the fire monster came from his home planet or maybe a different home planet. That is the big question. But that is when Superman is confronted by General Lane. He is the father of Lois Lane, but also he hates Superman with a passion. To him, Superman brings trouble to Metropolis because ever since he had appeared, more and more threats have come to Metropolis, but also puts Lois Lane's life in danger. Then he asks Superman what is the current relationship status between Superman and Lois Lane, which then switches to the first day, Lois Lane unpacking her stuff in the new office she got with the new job. This is where we learn that Lois Lane only likes likes Clark Kent as a friend, and that is it. There's really not a hint that maybe she does, but more like a brother. For Clark Kent, he's beginning to realize that he does not have a chance with her. She even mentions that he should date someone else and they can go on a double date soon. That is really it for them. After he leaves the office, he runs into Superman, who tells him that Perry has a story for him to go check out, something to do with a homeless person, since Clark Kent's stories usually focuses on that. He wants Clark to go check it out, but Clark Kent tells Perry White's assistant no. Also, at the end of the page in the present day, Superman leaves the military base after being told off by General Lane. Now, shifting the focus on that homeless man, we see that he was hiding out in the subway. The police was called to get him out of there, so the construction workers can get back to work to fix something Superman broke while fighting against that fire monster. Except the homeless man runs away before they can grab him. Then we see something happen to his eyes, like it is telling us that his mind has been taken over. Bringing our focus back on Superman, where we see him flying around the city of Metropolis to do his usual parole. Except out of nowhere, he is attacked by something, but we can't see it. Superman himself can't even see what is beating down on him, but it seems that the people of Metropolis can see this monster beating down on him. Now we are looking through the eyes of Superman, so right now we can't even see the monster ourselves, and Superman is getting beat down left and right. We watch Superman fly into a blimp, which of course is holding people inside of it as well. We didn't get the chance to see what the monster looks like, because we see that when the cameras from the news channel are focusing their cameras on Superman, we can see what the monster looks like and how the battle really looks like. Now Lois Lane realizes that Superman can't see him, but what could help him see this monster is all the cameras belonging to the news channels begin to broadcast all over the TV, which then gives him the chance to see where he should attack next. Now Superman has control of this fight. So we then see Superman go back into the battle, and we get to see him beat down on this monster. Honestly, this monster doesn't even stand a chance now, because the only thing he had on Superman was the ability to be blind to the eyes of Superman, because Superman doesn't have human eyes. He only has the eyes of a Kryptonian. But this is the moment you have the monster do the same thing that the fire monster did earlier. Right before it disappears, it speaks Kryptonian. But now this makes Superman wonder even more now what is going on with these random monsters appearing and disappearing but speaking his homeworld language. Now to close on the second page, we see that one of the cops who was in the chopper got shot out of the sky thanks to the fire monster. He survived, but he was badly burned to the point he's in a coma. Except he is awoken by our homeless man from earlier, and they both begin to speak Kryptonian and both say Krypton. The opening of the third chapter opens up by doing two things. The first thing is by telling us that Clark Kent's Earth father, Jonathan Kent, is dead. Also, we learn a little bit about the origin of Superman in the New 52. Really, it is just him showing up in Metropolis and starting working quickly on making the city a better place. This is the point where we see that Clark Kent as Superman took down the last owner of the Globe paper. Remember how I said the last owner was bad? Well, he was taken down by Superman. After Superman came to Metropolis, the city was attacked by giant robots, a terrorist group, and then a gorilla that was smart as a human. Honestly, those pages were brought up by a man named McCoy, who is basically trying to paint a picture that Superman is actually a bad person for the city. That with him being here, he has brought more problems than good things. Also stating that people get hurt when he is being a superhero, pointing out the recent incident with the fire monster, the guy who was badly burned because he was stuck in a chopper. McCoy wants to run a story about how Superman is doing more harm than good on the Daily Planet's paper or Lois Lane's news channel. Of course, Lois and Perry both say no, but you had them call up Clark because they want to send him somewhere to run a story. When Perry calls up Clark, of course he's not in Metropolis. He's actually in Smallville visiting his Earth parents' grave, where Perry White reminds Clark that he is supposed to be somewhere else helping out another reporter named Heather. So he leaves Smallville to go there, and him being there is going to play a role for a later chapter in this story. We actually switch over to Heather. We see her about to do the story without Clark since he is running late again. Except she mentions that it begins to feel very cold to her out of nowhere suddenly. That is when we see that the location Heather was at, out of nowhere, a snowstorm or some kind of blizzard happened. We then switch over and we see that Superman is now caught in the snowstorm. That right now this snowstorm literally is making it hard for him to do anything. Also, we see that the people that were in the area, well, they are now completely frozen. They are not dead, but they are frozen. Also, if I did forget to mention, Jimmy Olsen was there too. So of course, he is also frozen at the moment. Now we are about to reveal a new monster for Superman to deal with. Of course, the new monster is this ice monster. Now the second half of the third chapter of this book is Clark Kent fighting against this ice monster. Now Superman learns very quickly that this monster is actually Heather herself, and the question is, how did this happen? How in the world did this innocent woman get turned into this monster? Now Superman knows that he has to do something here, but he knows it may hurt her because right now it is Heather being the avatar for this monster. So he knows he has to hurt Heather's body with his heat vision to actually be able to stop all of this madness. So using his heat vision, there is a small explosion. Heather's body is completely gone now, but also that it knocked Superman into the basement level of the building that was torn down. We see that she reappears somewhere else in Metropolis, but with the eyes that she has been taken over to. Also, she meets up with the homeless man and the cop who was badly injured, all looking like they have been taken over. Now with the fourth chapter, we see that Metropolis News is reporting that Heather's body is missing. Jimmy Olsen reported to the news that she was there before the ice storm had happened. After the storm, she went missing and has been missing this whole time now. That makes the police think that Superman must have done something because when Jimmy Olsen came back, well, the first person he saw was Superman. Now, Superman stated he does not know where Heather went and did not know what would happen after using his heat vision on her. Except that is when we get our big moment of this book actually, with the cop coming in saying Heather is on the news. She is on the news stating that the last thing she remembers was Superman using his heat vision on her, but also remembers him telling her that he hopes she forgives him. Of course, this makes these cops look at him like he most definitely did something to her. Lucky for Superman, he is saved by the mayor's lawyer who tells the cops to let Superman go because it looks bad that they are holding on Superman like a suspect and they have nothing on him. So the cops are being forced to let Superman go. It leads to Superman flying by to confirm that Heather is back, which brings up more questions on where she was at. Except that is when Superman gets a call when he changed into being Clark Kent. Remember, he was supposed to be with Heather to help her with a story, except he was in Smallville visiting his parents' graves. But when they called him the first time to see where he was at, he lied and said he was in traffic, but in reality, he was in Smallville. Jimmy Olsen and Miko tracked his GPS and showed Smallville, so it made him look bad. He tells Lois Lane that he was in Smallville visiting his parents' graves. But after he gets off the call, he begins to wonder what is going on with him. He's beginning to forget a lot of different things. Now we switch over to the news channel section to the Daily Planet. where you have McCoy, the news anchor. He is doing a piece where he is basically painting a picture that Superman or Clark Kent must have a hand in what happened to Heather. It doesn't help that Jimmy Olsen and Miko are there right now, kind of speaking on the fact that Clark Kent was not there. We learn here that Clark Kent was the one who asked Heather to do this story in the first place. So everything is now being pointed at Clark Kent. Except that is when you have Heather speak up and say that Clark Kent was never supposed to be there in the first place, basically giving Clark Kent some breathing room, but everyone in the room knows that she is lying for him. And now the question is, why? Except at the same time, we see that the cop who was burned badly and the homeless man appear at a building that was burned down. The police have been looking for the burned cop and the homeless man because there was a video of the homeless man helping the cop out of the hospital. Except when these new cops walk up on them, some kind of light show happens and we lose those cops as well. Getting back to the news channel station, you have Clark Kent get confronted by the anchor McCoy, who is now accusing that Clark Kent and Heather are both hiding something from the world. Before Clark Kent can say anything, that is when Heather begins to say something, but her speech bubbles match the ice monster when she was the avatar for that monster earlier. That is when Clark Kent has somehow changed into his Superman outfit, but also have been teleported to his old apartment, where he is surrounded by all of the monsters he has fought in the earlier chapters. These monsters begin to speak about changing the world, or the city really, which of course begins a battle between the two sides. Now this begins a battle between the two sides, where of course it seems at first that Superman actually has a handle on this situation. Except of course, that is when the story begins to go in the direction where the monsters from the earlier chapters begin to win the battle. This begins a conversation where Superman is trying to learn more about the monsters better. They also begin to talk to Superman through his mind as well. This is when we see some swarm of bugs begin to surround all over Superman. Before these swarms actually get the chance to be able to take Superman away, Superman gets the chance to ask one more question. Who created these monsters? When the bugs finally taken over Superman's body, they state before he passes out that Superman was the one who created them. When we get to the 5th chapter, we see Jimmy Olsen and Miko going to the location where Superman is at, because right now he is the main attraction at the moment. The whole world wants to know what is going on with Superman and why is there some kind of storm happening in the middle of their city. Now when we last saw Superman, he was being just swarmed by a bunch of bugs, except here we see that he is actually trapped in the middle of a storm right now. That the powers of all three monsters had actually begun to surround him in a mixture of fire, ice, and the ability of invisibility all at once. A kind of storm. Superman could have met his end. This leads into us seeing Superman actually being able to absorb all of the storm inside of him. The storm is gone, but it seems that something is up when it comes to Superman, that he briefly speaks Kryptonian for a second. Now right now it seems that Superman is still dangerous to the city of Metropolis since he was the last one seen before Heather had disappeared. He then shows the people that he is not a dangerous person at all, that we see Superman show that he is a good person by going down and saving a bunch of people who were badly injured and flying away to let the city decide if he's good or bad. This is where things begin to seem weird when it comes to Superman, because we see him go to the lab that is holding the robots we saw earlier. Remember that we saw some some of the different things Superman had fought in an earlier chapter, as it showed us some of the things he had to go through when he was first being Superman in Metropolis. One of those things were giant robots, but a bunch of scientists took the robots in to learn more about them. We see Superman come here and actually kills them off. Well, they were robots. He just blew them up, and his reasoning is because they are a danger to the city. Then he flies away. Which of course, this gets put all over the news of what Superman did. But you would think that Superman would stop. Why would he want the city to look at him as some crazy man, or why doesn't he try to explain better to the city of Metropolis why he did that? Except of course he continues the trend by going after the gorilla we saw earlier. Again, you had a bunch of scientists trying to learn more about the gorilla, except we see here that the gorilla has been killed off by Superman as well. His reasoning is the same: to protect the city because the gorilla is too much of a threat to have around. The pattern continues to grow because remember that there was a terrorist group that attacked Metropolis a while back. Now you have Metropolis police thinking that it would be a good idea to move this group out of prison they are currently in and move them somewhere safe and away from Superman. Except when they think they're in the clear, well, that terrorist group gets attacked as well. Of course, they are attacked by Superman, and we see him use his frost breath to kill them off. All of this is making it seem that Superman has gone crazy. Now you have the news begin to paint the picture that Superman is crazy and he is now a dangerous threat to the city. He has to be taken down now, and it makes sense that the city will begin to paint that picture. I mean, it makes sense for the news to begin reporting the city hero has gone crazy. There is a point that General Lane begins to look at Superman even more now as someone who has gone crazy and needs to be put down at this moment. Now you would think there is no way this thing could get any worse, except that is when you have Superman break through the news channel wall, grab McCoy. This is where everything begins to show that Superman has most definitely gone crazy when he throws McCoy off the rooftop. Now the last page of chapter 5 shows us that Superman, the real Superman, is actually stuck in space for the moment. That apparently the Superman we have in Metropolis at the moment is not the real Superman. So we now know that we have a fake Superman on the ground. This gives us to the point where we see that the person Superman had thrown off the building got saved at the last second by Supergirl. Now this is technically the second time Supergirl has met Superman in the New 52 universe, where she is confused on why Superman is acting differently now. This leads into the two of them fighting against each other. Supergirl seems to be holding back because she is hoping that maybe this is a Superman who is confused or maybe being mind controlled. Except we all know that this is not a Superman who is under control or a Superman that is confused. Except there is a moment where you have Lois Lane call out to Clark because she is trying to call him, but the big thing is that's when she yells his name. The real Superman, who is trapped in space, can hear her calling, which begins to help him break free from the bug binds that he is in at the moment. This is where we learn that this creature is from a world called Jazur. I know I butchered that name completely. And that world was collected by Brainiac. Superman actually fought against Brainiac in the New 52 Action Comics that was covering the origin of Superman. Either way, they had this technology from this planet based on nanotech, which was able to keep the planet to survive. Well, when Superman fought against Brainiac, well, a small piece of that technology was stuck on Superman. It waited 5 years to make its move, But after getting that origin, Superman begins to break out of the control of this thing. Now Superman comes down and fights against the fake Superman, basically saving Supergirl from this guy. Except this is where we learn why and how this nanotech from another world was able to create different animals. Over the 5 years, did I say animals? I mean monsters, sorry. Over the 5 years, when Clark Kent used his powers, his heat vision, super breath, or his X-ray vision, the nanotech copied those powers in a way to become those monsters we saw earlier. Now the book ends with Superman being able to defeat this technology, and then we see Superman meeting up with Supergirl as she tells him that there is a clone out there. Of course they are talking about Superboy, Connor Kent. The book ends on this point right there, and this is where we are going to end today's video. So please hit that like button down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But I do hope you enjoyed today's video.